So today I am at my friends Tom and Michael at their collection for our Sarlacc meeting for this month, and let's go ahead and take a look at their collection here. So Tom and Michael call their collection the Lake Kathlina Cantina due to them being on Lake Kathlina. So let's take a look at it. He's got these awesome beer signs that we did several years ago for ice. And you can see all these wonderful collector created stuff that Tom and Michael picked up at conventions over the years. Maybe you'll see something that you gave them over the years in here. I know every once in a while I see something, oh, I made that, isn't that cool? They've also participated in the collector panels, and you can see here some of the swag that came from that. All sorts of stuff. There might be things here that you never even knew existed, and yet there it is. I was a part of those cups back there. I remember those back in 2015. We can look in here. We see some more stuff from the collector's panels at the conventions. All sorts of just really, really cool stuff if we look through it. Over here we have stuff from some action figures that we made in Sarlacc, as well as, again, more swag from collections. This whole area is basically either created by collectors for conventions or like the International Collectors Event, things like that. Tom and Michael love to go to this sort of stuff, so okay. I've been to far more than I have.
I was going to work around it.
But just seeing a lot of this collector created stuff is super cool. We have a lot of knit items there. And all sorts of cool stuff. And over here, well, you see Skywalker Ranch wine, various items going along with that. And different things they've picked up in their travels, both travels with the group and elsewhere. And more just created items. Now, Michael loves Kylo Ren specifically, so you're going to see a lot of Kylo Ren stuff here all of a sudden, and throughout the collection. Kylo Ren is her favorite thing, and she just loves it. So people make her art. She picks up all sorts of cool Kylo Ren stuff, including this great Bruce White painting right there. Oh, it's awesome. That's some good, nice artwork here. Even if you don't like Kylo Ren, you can see the cool art. Here we have lots of cool autographs. A number of people that many of us have probably picked up over the years, and they have a few here, and some that I've never had, like Peter Cushing. Don't have him. And autographs on action figures as well, so you can see through here. Then we get into the food category. Now, Tom specifically really loves Star Wars food-related items. He picks up things no matter wherever he travels, of course, all over the United States as well. Displays, boxes, wrappers, you name it, you're going to see it here. The toys that come with them, I mean, you see there, Star Wars bounty, right? Things that come with like Happy Meals and other fast food items. So you're going to see lots of things like that. And there's a lot of stuff here that comes from the last, the Disney years, if you will, with like The Mandalorian and Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, all that sort of stuff, and the Disney Plus shows now. So, because there's been a lot there. Now, granted, Mandalorian had a couple things we haven't seen a lot in the last few years. Seems like Disney hasn't been big on doing the food promotional items, but food promotional stuff for Star Wars goes all the way back to the vintage days. All sorts of things you're going to see here that go all the way back there. And stuff, of course, from the 90s. We had plenty of food promotional stuff because Pepsi did the promotional things. So we had stuff from Pepsi and like Doritos, Frito-Lay, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and Kentucky Fried Chicken because they're all part of the Pepsi company. Or at least they were back then. I'm not sure if they still are, but we see things like movie theaters. Anything related to food for Star Wars is what you're going to see right here. Here we actually have a Happy Meal display. You're thinking, I remember walking by some of the stuff, and Tom has a lot of it. And you see it. Some of this you're like, I never saw that, never knew that existed. Maybe it comes from another country, that sort of thing. We get into the toy collection room, and we're going to start on kind of the vintage, although Tom mixes a lot of vintage with modern. It's mostly vintage, but you're going to see a lot of different things in here that's mostly vintage, but a little bit of modern gets mixed in here and there. We get our die casts here and our micro collection. Isn't it funny that micro collection didn't do well, and yet so many of us just love it today, and they're fun little sets to get. as they go up and up and up and up in value and get harder to get. But here we can see boxed items as well as the full loose collection. All sorts of little small stuff. Yes, that's actually soap and Kleenex boxes. Well, not Kleenex, tissue boxes because they're puffs. And vintage Frisbees, all sorts of various things from the vintage days. We got some books, roller skates, cups. I love those Return of the Jedi cups over there. I have some of those. There's a biker scout gun, some watches, and more micro collection as we work our way up the shelves here. And Play-Doh. Who didn't have Star Wars Play-Doh as a kid, right? A whole lot of books. Those great Burger King glasses, the Dixie cup boxes, cake pans, all this. Then we look at Hoth here. See if you can spot the modern figures that get mixed in here. It's mostly vintage. Obviously, that big box set is pretty obviously a modern item, but you can see a few modern items get mixed in with Tom's vintage here. We get down in the ceramics and all sorts of various things. Oh, I see a few more modern items here, huh? It's okay to mix your modern with your vintage. It's really okay. Nobody's going to police. Now check out this Disney item. Isn't that cool? It's a nice little setup for Tomorrowland. This is all the Disney stuff. They used to have the room where they have all the food stuff. Used to be all Disney stuff, and you can see that's kind of moved out here as he's done a lot more with the food promotional stuff. But all this stuff here came from the Disney parks for the most part. See various things. Again, popcorn buckets, and I think I just saw some Star Tours glasses up there, and all sorts of things that you could have walked by, picked up, you're like, oh, I do remember seeing that in the Star Trader, and you didn't pick it up. A whole lot of Star Speeders. You think that'd be more, the Star Speeder stuff would be more perennial. They would not want to let that go, but like that cool Star Speeder playset is really neat. We got some coins, all the smashed penny ideas out there. You know? Again, this is all stuff from Disney parks. It's amazing how much, well, it really isn't amazing. We've been doing Disney stuff for 10 years now. We know what Disney will do with Star Wars stuff, but just to see a lot of it, and it's not just from the last 10 years, going back. Oh, I got some vintage. There's a vintage shuttle, and we got Endor and Ewoks. Look at those plush Ewoks. Rancor down there, Ewok board game, Jabba's Palace. Again, you're going to see some modern mixed in with the vintage. I don't know what happened to Blue Snaggletooth right there. We got two Greedos. It's kind of like Spider-Man pointing at each other. Oh, I see some modern and some vintage all mixed into one. More Endor. Some nice vintage and modern going together again. Sometimes, and then there's things like this. This was never made. Look at that. Nice 3D printed things. And lots of Ewoks. Tom and Michael have been part of the Ewok Builders Club when we started that to build our own Ewoks, like these guys right here. This is just a few more items, mostly hand-made things that you're going to see throughout here. Well, here we have some packaged items. Various things. It feels very miscellaneous. It's fun to kind of look through. It's always fun to see how people put together their collections and put it all together. How many people have old Hasbro boxes? I know I still have a bunch from when I worked at Toys R Us. We have a lot of bootlegs. Tom and Michael, I know, have gone to China at least a few times and picked up bootlegs, but been all sorts of stuff available over the years for bootleg things. Various crazy, weird, and awesome bootlegs. I went back to the fan stuff just to show a couple things really up close. There's this cool holiday set that came from a Sarlacc Christmas party a few years ago. Ben Swallow there, isn't that great? And then I saw that, oh, look at this perler bead stuff. Yeah, I made that. It's like, oh yeah, I made that Star Destroyer. That was pretty cool.